Hello, everybody, and welcome to our training. So here's the topic today. We are going to be covering um, how to create simple informational pages and just the process in getting those pages to show up on your site. Okay, I can't tell you how often I get the question. I want to create a certain type of page and I can't figure out how to do it, or I've created a page and I want to get it down here into this footer section and I can't figure out how to do it, or the link isn't working, or there's a host of questions that come along with this. So I want to cover that in detail. We have covered it before a little bit, but I'd like to focus on it today. So first of all, pages that you guys absolutely should have on your site. Let's just take a couple of notes together, okay? Okay, pages needed. You guys should have a contact us page somewhere on your site. You guys should have an about us page, or sort of like you could even call that like a company information page. Okay. You also need some kind of a shipping page, and you also should have a returns page. Okay. Some of these come default on your website. So you may notice that. You may see some of these and say, I already have these built for me, which is great. But it depends on your template, and it depends on who set up your site. And some of these sites will not come default with these types of pages, so you'll have to create them yourself. So, these are just the necessary pages. You could want to create a charity page, or you may want some sort of a sizing chart page if you're selling clothing of some sort, or some other type of page, right? Informational pages are part of a website, even an e-commerce store. So I want to make sure you guys are capable of deleting and creating and making those pages work. Okay. So first of all, whoever is here, who feels like that they need some help on this? Those of you guys who are here live, who feels like this is an area that you're not quite so clear on how to create these informational pages? And who feels like you are pretty clear on that? I'm getting a mix of different answers for sure. Almost kind of like a half and half so far. Yeah, a lot of you guys definitely need some review on it. Okay, so this will be good. Okay, so let's take a look at this basic site right here, right? You guys all see this okay? I'm on a test site right here. You'll notice on this specific template that I'm on, they've got a few of these informational pages down here. Now, some will come as a default, right? Most of you guys already have a terms and conditions. A privacy policy is usually automatically created. A help page is created. That's kind of like your FAQ. I get questions about these pages quite a bit. Category index and product index. This is mostly made by default as kind of like a sitemap of your site. Maybe not as useful for customers, but certainly very useful for a search engine. So keep those pages. You don't need to edit or change those. Order status, sign in, view cart, all pretty standard. This particular template has a company info page and a contact us page. So this one really has at least two of these. It's got this one and this one, but it doesn't have number 3 shipping, and it doesn't have the returns page. So we would at least need to add those, or any other page that we want to create, right? Yeah, sure. I can zoom in and make this a little bit bigger. I was planning on that anyway. Let me zoom in just a little bit. There you go. I can't zoom in too much. Ah, that's probably good right there. There you go. See the different sections here of your footer. And by the way, this is your footer. So when I say footer on a website, I'm talking about the below portion of your website that virtually stays the same all the time, right? A footer is a good index section. It's a place where you should have a lot of these informational pages. Right up here is your header section, and I want you guys to notice something real quick. This is kind of like your main navigation. We call it your nav menu one, and this is where you put most of your main product categories. I don't usually put a lot of informational pages up here. I suppose you could, but most of my informational pages are down below, whereas I like to use this section for category pages. But I want to show you something real quick. If I zoom in, notice my menu right now, okay? Category 1, Category 2, Category 3, Category 4. Watch me as I zoom in a little bit. Okay, I'm making my screen bigger. Notice how at some point it disappears. Notice that there's no menu now. And what's happened is now the menu moves up into this little box. This is very standard when you zoom in or you're looking at a website on a smaller screen, like an iPhone or maybe a tablet of some sort. Whenever you're zoomed in, the menu on most sites doesn't stay. Rather, it goes into this box right here. And if I click on this little box, I get this action that comes up. This is part of the fact that most of these Volusion sites, whether you're developing one or you had our development team do one for you, they're made to be responsive. They should show up nicely. But I've had the question every once in a while, well, where did my pages go? I'm looking at it on my phone and I don't see my navigation. Well, it's because this is your navigation right here. And that's kind of a universally understood box for navigation on smaller screens, especially mobile devices, okay? The reason why that's showing up on my computer screen right now is because I've zoomed in very far. If I zoom back out, I get the menu again, okay? So that's just an aside. I wanted to make sure you guys understood that. Okay, so let's get to page creation. So I'm going to log into my store, which I'm already in the admin, and I'm going to click on Manage Store up here at the top left. And the majority of my pages that I create, guys, I do it by simply creating a category. Now, I know in your mind you think, well, wait a minute, why are you creating a category? Well, I'm doing it because categories are the best way to create these informational pages. I know it's not going to be for products, but nonetheless, I'm going to create a category. So I click categories here. We already decided that I need to add a new category, and I need to add a returns page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to click add here. And I'm going to create the page and call it return policy, okay? That'll be my page name. Now, I'm not going to make it a subcategory of anything, at least temporarily. This is step 2. Step 1 was create the name. Step 2 is put it in your navigation menu, but only do it temporarily. Okay, I'll explain more about that here in just a second. It's in Nav Menu 1. Under Advanced Info, under Category Descriptions and Category Display, this is where my information is going to go. So I could come in here and type in, this is my return policy, blah, 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 etc. Okay. Now, obviously, you wouldn't put that right, but we're not going over what should go in a return policy. I'm just going to write out a little bit of information here. Hope that was clear. Thank you for visiting. Okay, there's my return policy. You guys would obviously change this, but we'll use this as kind of a placeholder. So I type it there in the category description, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit the save button. Okay. Now that should have saved my page. If I come back out here on Volusion and I view the store, sure enough, there's my return policy right here. The reason it's showing up in this main menu section is because I told it to show up there. I selected Nav Menu 1, remember? Had I not selected Nav Menu 1, it wouldn't have showed up in this section. Let's go back and review just one more time. If I go to return policy, and by the way, here is my new policy that I created, I can come up to the top here and select edit this category, okay? So edit and then this category. And what you'll notice about this is I did select nav menu 1. If I did not select nav menu 1 and I saved it, then guess what? It's not going to show up there. If I view the store, it's now gone. And this is what happens to some of you guys. Some of you guys will create pages and you'll forget to select nav menu 1. And then you'll think, okay, well maybe I didn't create it, or maybe it disappeared, or maybe Volusion had a glitch. None of those things are true. It's just in a different place. If I wanted to go retrieve that page, it's very simple. I would come up here and click Manage Store. And I would go Inventory and then Categories. And I'll still notice that it's not here in the Nav Menu 1 section, okay? That's because it's found here in View List. If I click on View List, and I look, there it is right there. There's my return policy. So again, if I want this just to at least temporarily show up in my Nav menu, let me click number 106. Let me come down and select Nav Menu 1, and let me save it, and then it'll appear there, okay? Now here's the whole reason why I want it to appear here right now. I told you guys earlier that the Nav menu is mostly reserved for product categories, and that's still true. But I want it to appear here temporarily because I need to know what the address for this page is. Look at the address right up here. I know that's kind of small. It'll be different on everybody's computer because your site will have a different address, but that address is the location of this page. Meaning, if I were on the internet and I typed in this address just exactly the way I copied and pasted it in there and did a search, it would take me right to this very specific return policy page. That's called the page URL or the page web address. It's up here in the address bar, right? The only reason why I put it in my nav menu is so I could go to the page live and find out what the URL is. Okay, now that I know what that is, I can simply copy it, right? Now that I've got it copied and it's been created, I could pull it out of here now. I don't need it in the nav menu anymore. So I'm going to go to this category and I'm going to pull it back out. Because most of your information pages really actually need to be down in the footer section. So now it's gone, but luckily I still have the URL copied. And so now I'm going to come down here to the footer section of my site. And I'm going to decide where I want to put it. I could put it under About Us. I could put it under Helpful Info. You'll notice as I roll my mouse over these, you see how I get a little edit box that shows up? Now your customers wouldn't see that, right? The only reason why I'm getting an edit box right now as I'm rolling over these different sections is because I'm in my admin editor within Volusion, right? So if I wanted it to show up under About Us, which would be just fine, I would select Edit in this section. And you'll notice at this point I get sort of this little cutout look right here. That means I'm in edit mode, and that means I could come in here with my cursor, and I'm going to put my cursor at the end of Contact Us, and I'm going to hit the Enter button. Okay, and that created a space. Now what's difficult here is you can't hardly even see what you're doing because this little box got in the way, but it moved for me. There we go. See, I can kind of manipulate this. See, here's some space right here. I could now type in myself return policy. Now, while I'm typing that in, you'll notice it's automatically underlining it. Let me zoom in just a little bit more so you guys can see that better. See how it's automatically underlining it when I typed it in there? That means it's keeping a link from somewhere. It's probably keeping the Contact Us link, which I don't want. So what I could do is I could highlight this newly created return policy, and I could click on this little link icon right here. And I could click unlink if I wanted. And see, if I click unlink, the underline goes away, and this currently isn't linked to anything. And if I come up here and hit the checkbox right here, that's pretty much the save section for this. If I click the checkbox, sure enough, this is saved, but you'll notice it's not linked to anything. It just says return policy. When I roll my mouse over it, I get a little cursor instead of a pointer finger like I do on the others. So I don't like that. Of course, I want this linked, so I'm going to hit edit again, and I'm going to make sure I highlight this whole thing, which is going to automatically display this little box right here. I'm going to select the chain link one more time, and I'm going to click Insert Link. You'll notice here there's different sections. There's a URL, an email, and an anchor. You guys, when you're creating a normal link, are going to use the URL option, and then you're going to paste that URL that we had previously. You guys see it there. How did I get that URL? Well, that's what we copied just a few minutes ago, right? So I'm going to keep that copied. The text we already had created, return policy. Leave this unchecked for now. Okay, so don't check that, and then click Insert. You'll notice when I clicked Insert, I got an underline under return policy, which means the link is ready. Now here's where a lot of my clients mess up, so listen closely. They forget to select the check marks or the check box right here where the check mark is after they make the change. They make the change and then they just click off to another page and it doesn't save it. In this case, you have to select the checkbox. You have to click on that in order to save it. Okay, once that's been done, I now can come in here and test it out. It looks like it's working because I get the little hand symbol. And if I click on return policy, sure enough, it takes me over to my return policy. Okay, pretty easy, right, guys? Let me show you that whole process, but let me just do it a lot faster so you can see how quickly you can go about doing something like this. Okay, so let's do it. I'm just going to talk as I do it, and you can see how quick and easy this can be. So I'm going to start by going to Manage Store. Let me zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to go create a category, inventory and category. This is going to be my shipping page that I want to create. So I'm going to add, and I'm going to click shipping information, or type in shipping information for the title of my page. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to select Nav Menu 1. And then under Advanced Info, Category Descriptions, I'm going to type in my shipping policy. And this is going to be a placeholder. You guys obviously would have something that makes sense here. Here's my shipping information. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to hit the Save button at the bottom. Once Save is clicked, I'm going to come back up and I'm going to view my store. And I'm going to look for that new shipping page that was just created. Now, I had to refresh. If you didn't notice, it didn't come right up in my menu. And if that happens, just refresh the page, which I just did. Or try it again, just refresh. You know what I mean by refresh, right, guys? The little reload the page icon up here in your browser. Once I've reloaded the page, that shipping information page came up. Now, here's why I want it in the nav menu. I want it for reasons of getting the address of the page. So I clicked on it, and it brought it up. And I'm going to come up here to the very top where the URL is. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to copy it. Once copied, I've done my work here. I can go back and I can edit this page, edit this category right here, and I'm going to pull it out of the nav menu. Okay, just like that. Now it's going to be gone. It's not going to show up in the nav menu, which is good because the nav menu is reserved for what? It's reserved for categories, right? Categories with products. So I'm going to scroll down here now, and I want this shipping information under About Us. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to select Edit. I'm going to put my cursor at the end of Return Policy, and I'm simply going to hit the Enter button. And I know right now I can't really see, so I'm going to take my mouse and click there, and see that made that little toolbar disappear. So I'm going to type in shipping information right here. Now I want to edit this link, so I'm going to highlight shipping information, and I'm going to click this little link icon. I'm going to edit the link, And where it says URL, I'm going to paste in my link that I just copied a second ago. That looks good, so I'm going to insert, and then I'm going to save by clicking the little check mark. Okay, that should save it. If I want to test out whether or not it worked, I simply click over here on shipping information, and sure enough, there it comes. Okay. Should be pretty easy, right? Does that kind of make sense to you guys? Now, what if I've already got a contact us page that I don't like? I know sometimes you guys, you'll notice this is kind of the default in your Volusion, but if you go to contact us, you'll notice if you click on it, it'll take you directly to an email provider. See, if I click contact us, it takes me to this email application on my computer. Sometimes my clients don't like that. They would prefer it going to an actual contact us page. So since this is already created down here, I would just need to create a simple contact us category and link it to this existing text, which would be very easy to do. Okay, let me show you what that would be like. Same process. I need to create a page, so I'm going to go inventory and categories. This should start to become more and more familiar as you're watching me do it. I click add, and then I come here to create the name, which I'll call contact us. And I'm going to put that in my nav menu. And under category descriptions, this is where I want to put how to contact me. Here is my email address. Contact us if you have any questions, right? Blah, blah, blah. You can decide what information goes there, but that's where it would go under category description, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. Once saved, I'm going to go back out and view the store again. We'll see if we can find it. Here it is, contact us right there. If I click on it, it takes me to the page, which then I go fetch the URL up here at the top. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come down here to this, and I'm going to edit it, and I'm simply just going to highlight contact us, and I'm going to click the link, and I'm going to edit link. Now you'll notice this has an email link on it. I want to delete this out altogether. I want to go to the URL, and I want to paste it there. So make sure email is not showing up, and URL is where you paste the link. I've clicked that button, I hit insert, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit this little checkbox here. Okay. Once I've done that, it should work. I can test it out. If I click contact us, you'll notice it now takes me to the contact us page right here. Okay. Now if I'm unhappy with my content here on this page, I can simply come up here and go edit and then edit the category, right? Edit and then edit this category, and I can come down here to advanced info and then category description right here under category descriptions, and I can edit it just like that. That's the way I prefer to do it, at least. If you're wondering, where are these pages listed that I've created down here, you can always find them. If they're categories that you created, you can always find them inside your inventory and categories. You can locate them under view list right over here, because again, remember, actually, we forgot to pull contact us out of the nav menu, didn't we? So let's edit this, and let's get rid of it. We don't want it to show up in the nav menu, so I'm going to do select right there and save, and that should pull that right on out. Now I can go back to inventory, categories, and then I'm going to go view the list right here. So here's view list over here at the top right. And that shows me a list of all of my categories that have been created, more specifically, these information pages that we've created today, right here, okay, that are highlighted in blue. We created number 106, number 107, and number 108, okay? And those pages are good to go. Now, another question I get a fair bit of is people wanting to link their blog, right? They have a blog and they want to link their blog to their Volusion site. This is also done the exact same way, okay? So bear with me here as I show you virtually the same process. If I go inventory I'm going to go categories yet again, and I'm going to create a new one. Okay, add category. Sorry, it's being slow here. I'm going to click add. Sometimes Volusion slows down just a touch. Okay, and I'm gonna create one called blog. Category name is blog. I'll put it in my nav menu. Just all the same steps, really. And I'll save it. In most cases, you probably still want your blog. So here it is. I've seen a few of my clients like to put it up here so it's more prominent, but you may still want your blog down here. So, if you come down here, you could edit this, and you could create blog. You could type out blog right here. So there it is. But here's what's different. Your blog address you'll probably already have. So let's say I've got a Blogger or a WordPress account or something, that maybe already has its own address. I'm going to pretend for a minute that this is my blog, getrichslowly.com. Whatever this URL is, you may already have the URL to your blog. You just copy it. And then you would do the exact same thing. Come down here, highlight it, hit the link, edit the link under URL, paste that URL, insert, and then save it. And then you'd have your blog. Or let's say I wanted to link out to my favorite sports site for some reason. Right? Maybe I have a sports sports e-commerce site. So I'm going to create ESPN News, right? And I want this to link out to ESPN. Well, that's easy to do. Create the text right there. Go find your URL for ESPN, which is easy. Here it is right here. I can copy that URL, go back to my site, edit, and just highlight the text that I want linked. Select the edit link and put in our new ESPN URL. Okay. Make sure email is clear. We just want ESPN. And then we'll hit insert, and then we'll remember always hit that checkbox right there to save it. And there we go. If I click on this link, that should bring up ESPN, which it does. Okay. So for different reasons, I mean, I've had clients that have had different type of informational links down here, their blog. See how easy that is? You just have to create the category first, like we did, in order to go through this process and make as many of these pages as you want. Before I go on, I've got just a couple other small things I want to show you. Is this making some sense so far? I mean, I know I'm going fast on these last few, but I'm doing it because now you should be able to keep up a little bit, having seen me do this over and over again. Do you guys feel like you want me to do another slow example, or do you feel like you have it enough so far? Am I going too fast on some of this? All right, let's do this. I'm gonna take a poll. If I can. Actually, it's not gonna let me. Yeah, this will be available. I'm recording this while we're talking, guys. So I went purposefully very slow at the beginning, so you guys should be able to follow that. Guy, you bring up an interesting point. Just as a quick heads up, when you guys are editing something, so we talked about when you're editing a page and you're creating content. If you have information from another source, okay, so let's say you wrote out your return policy in Microsoft Word, and you're wanting to paste your pre-written return policy into Volusion. can I just recommend that rather than just pasting it directly into this section, that you first select this HTML button here at the top left. Click HTML and paste it here, and then unclick HTML and save it. If you don't do it that way, and you're copying and pasting from another source, it's going to bring in all kinds of garbage, bad code that isn't going to be good for the site. So you should either write out your policy here inside Volusion, or if you do copy and paste from another source, you do it here in the HTML section by clicking this button at the top left. Okay? That's going to help. That's just going to make the formatting better. Linda, in our Volusion trainings, we've done sample content for these different pages. I'm going to put together a comprehensive training that goes over in detail the content for all of these. We've done one for the return policy only so far. I'm going to help you guys out with contact, about us, and shipping here over the next few weeks. And yes, Valerie, just click before and after. Exactly. Good questions. Curtis, I tend to do that. Yeah, so for product adding, if you were adding this as a product description, I tend to like to click HTML first, paste in the product description, and then unclick it so it doesn't take that formatting either. Good question. All right, let's do one more real quick, and we're going to do it slowly here, and then we'll look to finish up, okay? So from the top, okay? And I'll do this slowly on purpose, you guys, and I'll just kind of talk you through it slowly. But let's pretend we have one extra page we want to add. We're not currently satisfied with what we have. Let's say we wanted to add a sizing chart page. Okay, we're selling women's apparel and clothing, so we need a sizing chart page. So here's what I would do. I'd first go to my categories, manage the store, inventory, and then categories. Okay. Once here, I'm going to click the add button, and I'm going to create the category page, and we're going to call this sizing chart. Okay, and then we're going to come down here, and we're going to show it in the nav menu 1, and you're going to put your sizing chart information right here. For the sake of this example, I will just paste some gibberish here, okay? Save. The page is now created. We created the page. We're going to go out and view the store, and we should see sizing chart here in the menu, which we do. I'll click sizing chart, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to copy the URL. That's why I put it in the nav menu. Let me copy the URL. Once the URL is copied, I can now come down here and place it where I want. Maybe I want it under helpful info right over here at the right. So I'm going to click edit here, and I'm going to create a space. Put my cursor and click over here at the end of terms and conditions and simply hit the enter button and then type in sizing chart. I know you can't see it because it's behind this little toolbar here, but that's okay. Let me hit the check button and see if it turned out okay. It sure did. See, there it is right there. Now, I'm not done yet because I haven't actually linked it. So now I need to edit, I need to highlight it, and I need to select the chain link in order to edit the link. I want to paste this link, okay? I already copied that just a second ago, so I paste that in the URL. I make sure nothing is showing up under the email, and I hit insert. And then I don't forget to hit the checkbox to save. At that point, wherever I am, I can come and check to make sure this link worked okay. If I click sizing chart, there we go. That took me over to the sizing chart. As simple as that. Now it's still sitting up here in my nav menu. If I don't want this stuff up here, I can go back to my categories section, inventory and categories. I can edit my nav menu one, and I can pull both of these out of the menu. I do that by just simply edit, and where it says show in menu right here, I put it to select and hit save. Okay, same with the other one. Categories. There's my sizing chart. I select edit, and a little faster now, I change that to select and hit save. And then I view my store and I make sure that stuff is gone, and it is in fact gone. We're left with what was in here by default, with the links down here working just fine. Okay, I hope that's pretty easy to follow. And that's the way I would prefer you do this. Okay, you can easily take something out if it's not working. I could come here and edit the About Us. I could highlight ESPN News if that was a mistake and just hit the delete button, and that pulls it out. Hit the checkbox, and then that's now gone. Now, it may only be gone from the footer. The category still exists somewhere because we didn't actually delete the category, right? So I'd have to come, if I wanted to really get rid of the category and make it to where it doesn't even exist, I'd have to go into Manage Store, go back to my category section, view the list at the far right, and I should still be able to find that ESPN News if it was a page that I created. In this example, however, we never created ESPN News as a page on our site. ESPN News was simply just a link that we created in our footer, and so therefore there's nothing to delete here. We made that link a little bit differently if you'll kind of look back and see what we did a few minutes ago. All right? But you know, this is kind of my place for all of my categories, and I could edit them here if I wanted to. I could see what's been created. Again, categories view list is kind of your master category area. All right. Okay, so let me just check to see if there's any questions regarding this stuff. If you've got any, ask away. If not, you may need to watch this training a couple of times just to make sure you get the hang of it. And that's okay if you do. This is obviously going to be recorded, and we'll have this available to you guys as needed. Gerald asks about articles. Okay, so this is a different way to handle this. Gerald, I'm going to recommend you don't use articles and you do it the way I just instructed you guys. There's a section inside Volusion that has some of these pages pre-created. Okay, so if I go here to Design and Site Content, you'll notice we have a list of what are called articles. Okay, and if you look down on this list, there is an article for your About Us, which is an existing page that's been created. There's an article for a returns page right here. It's article number 3. You can see the number 3 right here. And then I think About Us was article number 1. I want to say there's a contact. Let's see if I can find. Maybe there's not a contact one. There might be a shipping one, though. Shipping. Yeah, here's your shipping one, 57. So just as an aside, if you want to do this via articles, you can. One is About Us. Article 3 was returns, and then Article 57 was shipping. Some templates use articles, and if yours is one of those, you may recognize this little message right here, where you have a preset shipping page, and it says this. Simply look for the, and then it gives you the little icon, the little truck shipping icon. To enjoy free shipping on selected items throughout the store. If the items in your order which qualify for free shipping total $99 or more, your order ships free. You may have a shipping page that says this information. If you want to skip creating a category and recreating shipping this way, you can simply come to articles, click on article 57, and you can edit this information right here. If you want to know what the URL for this page is, if you click View Live, this View Live button at the top right, it'll take you to this page, and here's the URL for that page right there. So for your question, Gerald, you're saying, what if I've got an article number 1? Let's go back to where we were just a second ago. Design, site content. Let's find article 1. Okay, so that's about us here. What you can do, Gerald, is very easy. If this information is already created here on article 1, that's your about us information, come here and click View Live. Okay, because View Live will take you to that live page, and then you come up here to the top and copy this URL. Okay, I'm going to copy this right up here at the top because I know that's the link. And then I could come back down here under my account or wherever you want to put it, and I could type in, about the company and select the little checkbox. So I create the text right here. And then I could create the link. I just highlight it like you guys have learned about, select link, insert link, and then I can paste in that article URL. If I select insert and then hit the checkbox to save, that will create the link to that existing article within the site. And you can test it to make sure it works. About the company, and then sure enough, it takes me to that page. That's how does that make sense, Gerald? Does that make sense? Go and find the article, click the View Live button, and then save that address. And then you can go create a text link down here in the footer and connect them together just like we did. That's if you're doing it with articles. So again, articles are kind of only applicable if you didn't apply what I just showed you today, or if one of your existing pages, it's not set up as a category. You can usually find it in the articles. And I just showed you guys your about us is usually, or company info is usually number 1, returns is 3, 57 is shipping, and those are listed in the article section. I hope I didn't confuse too many of you, because that's just a different way to go about doing the same kind of stuff. Those are referred to as articles. Okay, guys, we need to finish up. I've gone way too long on this. I hope I haven't bored you to death. But I also hope this was repetitive enough to where you think you could go and maybe repeat some of these steps. If you're having a hard time with this after watching this training, obviously you can contact us or contact your coach, and we can give you a hand. But I get this question just so very often that I felt like it would be a good opportunity just to train it in detail here in one of these Volusion webinars. You guys think you got it okay? Most of you guys are saying, yeah, this is pretty clear. Don't be afraid to tell me if it's not. I'm going to encourage you as soon as I get this uploaded on the internet to have you, maybe just review it one more time. Okay, great. Well, like I told you, in the coming few weeks, I'd like to go into detail on some of these specific pages and make sure you guys know just a little bit better about what goes on them. We have talked about it in passing a bit in some of these trainings, but it might be good to cover them in just a little more detail. All right? Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for coming along today, and we'll see you next time. Let's keep working on our sites. Thanks again.